I have been taking care of my plant wifey for over a decade. One day, she woke up and unexpectedly despised me, blaming me for ruining her love. Even as I was driving for D late at night, she rekindled her old feelings with the killer who harmed her and left her paralyzed. I lost control and crashed into the roadside, dying on the spot. When I woke up again, I found myself back at the turning point of everything. At this moment, Ji straightened her back and glared at me. Jang Muin, give the guaranteed spot to Mice. I don't want to owe him a favor. I looked at her intently, vowing not to entangle with her for the rest of my life. Later, I ended up with the class monitor who had a crush on me, and she whose legs were amputated high up went crazy. One GI wore a faded school uniform, his face full of arrogance as he looked at me. Mingguan, you go to the homeroom teacher and tell them you're giving up the guaranteed placement, so the Mui family can handle it and make up for it. In front of me, Jia Yao stood high-spirited, lively, and vigorous, and for a moment, I felt a bit dazed. What remained deeply engraved in memory was the dozens of years she lay paralyzed in bed, her body just a shell. I instinctively stepped back, steadying my stumble. Ji looked at me without a response, then rose with a bit of surprise. Mingguan, Muse secretly notified the canteen, and that's why my meals are so lavish every time. I don't want to owe him anything, and you don't want me owing anyone either, right? In that line, I froze all over. I slowly raised my eyes to meet hers only to see a pair of righteous, assertive eyes. I couldn't help but let out a sardonic smile, take a deep breath, and a sneering insinuation appeared in my eyes. Me? What relation do you have to me? What does that have to do with you? Ridiculous. Runs is so rich and capable he spends money to hire me. Ji opened her eyes wide in disbelief, as if for the first time seeing me respond to her like this. Her face gradually clouded with annoyance, and she stared at me with an extremely ugly look. Jang Muin, how can you say such a thing? Are you such a money-minded person wanting money? Do you want me to owe someone and be lowered to rank? Do you want me to be entangled with him all the time? How could you become so selfish? After speaking, the cold, frostbiting final line was flung out. I know you have emotions, but you should know which is lighter and heavier. Her departure was resolute and firm, as if certain I would do as told. I fixedly stared at her back, unable to resist covering my heart, as the emotions churned inside me nearly swallowed me whole. Why can people be so contemptuous of others? 2. In the previous life, I had agreed with eager anticipation, fearing that Jiao and Mui would become entangled in some relation who knew that on the first day of transferring into Gui's senior year, he would loudly declare that he intended to pursue Jiao. Since then, he has been polite and attentive every day, from gifting luxury bags and celebrity autographs to bringing breakfast every day and escorting her home. Ji always wears a look of disdain, not giving Gay a good face even in class or in front of me, but she never refused anything either. After finishing the bird's nest, Kanji Gus sent, she spoke arrogantly. Gay, can you put your heart into studying? Is it meaningful to bring these foods every day? I don't want to admit your affection, but I don't want to waste food either. While Muris merely tried to please others verbally, he actually did so even more frequently. I privately advised Ji Yao that since she didn't like him, she shouldn't give him any hope. Ji Yao, however, accused me angrily. Jang Muin, what do you mean? Are you implying that I'm suffering unjustly? On what grounds can you belittle me like this? Her accusations left me disheartened. Gradually, I distanced myself from her life and focused entirely on preparing for the college entrance exams. Tomorrow is far from as easy as it might have been by surprise. The turn of fate came so suddenly that this invisible big hand easily declared my decade-long ups and downs over 3. A few days before the college entrance examination, Muse's mother confronted Jia Yao in public, slapped her, and cursed her for seducing her son. While cursing, she flung out a series of bills, all the money Muse had spent on Jia Yao. Jia Yao's face flushed with anger, and she retorted unwillingly, "Do you think I like your son? I tell you it's all because he pursed me. Your son is like a mangy dog, begging me all day long. I only gave him a little face out of classmates' friendship. Do you think I care about his insulting money-wasting ways? Jia Yao's roar was hoarser and exhausted, completely unaware of Muse's ashen face behind the door. He immediately, regardless of anything, dragged Ji Yao and ran wildly away. I was full of worry and tried to stop them only to be met with Ji's vexed look telling me to mind my own business. I can only anxiously wait, but what I get are two people who both crash their cars. In a moment of impulsiveness, Muse rides a motorcycle with Ji at high speed and an accident collides with a truck. Muse is thrown far away, consciousness fading. Ji is crushed alive with fractures all over the body. On that day diagnosed as lifelong paralysis. Unless a miracle, the phrase vegetative state was an easy death sentence for her in her prime years. For Ji Yao and her ignorant parents who favor men over women promptly took a sum of money from the Muse family and left it at that. They planned to send Ji Yao back to her hometown to fend for herself. I stood up without hesitation and expressed my willingness to take care of her. Facing the astonished looks of teachers, classmates, and even Ji Yao's parents, I firmly withdrew from school and gave up the college entrance exam. For more than 10 years afterward, I did all kinds of odd jobs, and in my spare time, I drove for DDI only to have time freedom to conveniently take care of GI. Everyone who knows the situation cannot understand. They curse me as stupid, say I'm crazy. Only I know that the year my parents died in a car accident, Ji Yao was there with me, comforting me. She is the light in my dark life, the one who carried me through that painful period. We grew up together since childhood and our 10+ years of companionship surpass everything. I am willing to sacrifice everything for this light, even my life. One cannot let oneself off the hook. That too is a kind of sin. Ji Yao's miracle appeared and I was overjoyed. But when she woke up, there was no emotion, no joy, only a blank sense of loss. Her smile was stiff, and she wanted to speak, but held back from me, an awkwardness difficult to utter. I thought she needed to adapt, but everything was self-deception. In the dead of night, I rushed through the corners of the city. In the surveillance is her and Muko, who has long since settled down with a family, colluding after years apart. How great their love is. Ji Yao's love is once again so thrilling. She can fall in love with the killer who harmed her. Yet she despises the benefactor who has cared for her for many years. The living, breathing sincerity is mercilessly ground into dust. Raise the humble, insignificant dust. I'm the biggest joke in the world. Maybe 5. Jang Muin, you're not actually going to give up the recommendation, are you? Don't be foolish. The childish, stubborn voice suddenly reached my ears. I suddenly broke free from the whirlpool of memories. It's the monitor. She walked up to me with a displeased expression, her eyes scrutinizing me. I suddenly remembered her incredulous and heartbroken expression when I gave up the college entrance exam in my previous life. She even found me a lot of revision materials, hoping I could participate once more and absolutely not give up easily. Back then, she was full of hope for me, admiring and reverent. Looking back from my perspective now, after more than 10 years, it was love. I suddenly collected my worn eyes and spoke hoarsely. Squad leader, I have decided to give up. You, what did you say? It's Jo again, right? The squad leader Fred. My gaze fixed steadily on her. No, it's that I believe I can get into Qingbei. The squad leader was stunned. She hadn't expected me to say that. I saw this and a smile crossed my eyes. Captain Yuan, can you help me with tutoring? You want me to? Of course you can. After saying that, the slightly flushed captain ran back to the classroom with small steps. I quickly found the homeroom teacher to express canceling the recommended admission. The homeroom teacher thought for a moment, encouraged me a few words, and then agreed. During the self-study period that evening, Zhao approached me with a triumphant look on her face and said, Mingguan, I knew you weren't that kind of person. You definitely wouldn't be able to bear to see me. Muya det. I walked forward without looking sideways, too lazy to pay attention to her, and Ji Yao grabbed me. Her face flushed slightly, and upon closer look, her eyes seemed to carry a faint layer of excitement. She lowered her voice. Mingguan, could you tell the teacher that I'm not feeling well and go home to rest? My cold, probing gaze swept over. Gi cleared her throat awkwardly and said, "Isn't it that Muse actually organized a confession ceremony? I didn't want to go at first, but with the college entrance exam coming up, I have to go and urge him to settle his mind not to mess with these nonsense." What she still wanted to conceal was halted by my quick step away. She uttered with some displeasure, "Jiang Minyuan, what's going on with you? Are you jealous?" What answered her was my silent, unwavering silhouette. She instead curled her lips in a smug smile, watching me from afar, as if looking at something precious in her hand. 6. During evening self-study, the homeroom teacher asked me a question. I only said I didn't know, then lowered my head and continued to ask the class monitor questions. I crazy absorbed high school knowledge, although more than 10 years have passed. During these 10 years, I have always worked part-time tutoring as the former math genius. So besides subjects like Chinese and history, I still had a grasp on the college entrance exam. Thinking of this, I immediately pointed out a big question, looking at the class monitor and saying, "Class monitor, Yuan, I think this problem is definitely going to appear on the college entrance exam." The monitor's ears reaned upon hearing that, lowering his head to look at the question that had once taunted many students during the Gao. After school, I hurried home with the notebook the monitor gave me. I didn't expect to encounter a hostile Mullenmo at the door. Speaking of which, when I met him again after more than 10 years, he was still as spirited and flamboyant as ever, and as unrestrained as before. The moment he saw me, his eyes shot fire in an instant. Blood rushed to his head and he roared in a raging shout, "Jiang Minyuan, do you have any dignity at all? You worthless, motherless poor kid. Why are you clinging to Ji Yao? Do you deserve her?" I halted in my steps, turning with a sharp gaze that pierced him. "Jose, please keep your mouth clean. Ji is destined to be yours in this lifetime. Don't say you're clinging to her. I swear I will stay far away from her for the rest of my life. Please don't create things out of nothing here." Kurosawa heard this and sneered cruelly, pointing at me with a savage finger. "Do you still want to deny it? I just confessed to Gia and she admitted it. She said your parents left and now she is your only one. She would never abandon you. Her feelings for you are different. Are you still trying to lie to me?" Watching the rampaging Muse in front of me, my eyes gradually turned dark and vicious. Mui ignored me entirely and continued shouting, "Your parents dying is your own fault. Why should Yao bear the burden? Are you so useless that you need a woman to constantly console you? Or are you just unclean in your thoughts, hoping to use this to seize Yao Yao, this kind-hearted and innocent girl?" As soon as his words fell, I suddenly grabbed his collar tightly. I raised my eyes abruptly, the sharp gaze brewing a layer of coldness, and the corner of my mouth curved into a cruel arc. "Muse Gia only wants to play hard to get. Do you want to know who she truly loves?" As his low voice fell, I delivered a heavy punch toward the shocked Muse. He fell to the ground from the blow, blood involuntarily spilling from the corner of his mouth. Jia Yao, watching from afar, was suddenly terrified, her eyes blazing with fury as she rushed over. He shoved me aside, then helped me to my feet and glared at Mui, shouting, "Jiang Minyuan, are you crazy? You actually hit someone just to monopolize me. I must have misjudged you. A perverse, sickly demon like you is utterly inhumane. I am so disappointed in you." Jia Yao with tear-filled eyes collapsed into Mui's arms as if heartbroken. Mui puffed out his cheeks, his face displaying an astonishing look of joy. "You Yao Yao, turns out in your heart I am the most important. I understand now. You were testing me all along." After speaking, he tightly hugged Jiao. Ji tried to break free, but his force made her go limp. She could only feign anger and say, "Let go." I didn't, but with this posture to anyone it looked like a cowardice pout. Morose held them tighter. I speechlessly watched the two people in front of me so affectionately affectionate. So I am part of their play. I shook my head and walked away. I never want to get involved in this muddy water again. Ji Yao could not stand my indifferent attitude and frowned in displeasure, saying, "Mingguan, I'll go back and explain to you later." I flew forward with the gaze of Moyer spitting fire at me, saying quickly, "No need to explain. I know you've always liked Muse. Before you were just testing him. You've done so much for him that you asked me to withdraw from the admission. This kind of love is too deep. I wish you all a lifetime of happiness together." After speaking, Jiao was left dumbfounded, wearied by a complex and inexplicable expression. And I hurried away. Only the back remained moved and intoxicated. As Moyers gazed on with ardent devotion, he firmly held on to Jiao, who was about to speak, and directly kissed her deeply under his intense onslaught. Jiao became pliant, and when she finally completely lost herself, she looked ahead with a vacant, unfocused gaze. 7. Last night, I broke through this pretense between them, and Jiao simply stopped pretending to be reserved. They are really together. In the days to come, I often held hands openly in class, feeding each other snacks. The monitor always secretly eyes me, studying my expression, glancing to see that I look normal, then quietly smiles. Watching her this cautious and adorable look, my heart inexplicably trembled, a thread of sweetness arising. Cannot help but sigh. A man in his 30s, yet I have developed inappropriate thoughts about a young girl. Really problematic thinking. Zhang Mingguan, could you help me deliver my English workbook for me? The monitor smiled at me. A bit slow, replied. Sure, but before I could stand up, a thermos bottle was slapped heavily onto my desk. Jia provokingly said, Mingguan, help me fetch water. I've run out of water. I couldn't be bothered to glance at her, stood up, and walked away with my homework. Jia's face flushed in anger. Zhang Mingyuan, what do you mean? Because I'm in a relationship. You want to draw a line between us. I kept a straight face, and replied, it isn't about being in a relationship. There has always been a boundary. Mui stormed over, snatched Jiai's water cup. Zhang Mingyuan, I know you're jealous of me, but you don't have to talk with veiled barbs and snide remarks. Jiao gazed at him with a moved expression. It's all my fault. I couldn't balance love and friendship and I lost a friend. Noise. The squad leader frowned, grabbed me, and walked off. I watch her holding my small hand tightly, and my heart trembles again. Jia Yao's face turned grim, and she was about to speak again when she suddenly started dry heaving. The violent dry heaving caused her legs to weaken, and she collapsed into Mui's arms. Mui's expression changed drastically. After the head tear arrived, he immediately accompanied her to the hospital. I shook my head, thinking to myself that at last my ears would be quiet. 8. But the calm I expected only held for half a day. Just before evening self-study, I had just sorted the papers when two figures stormed toward me, furious. A test report was slammed heavily onto me. Before I could react, the sharp, insulting curses reached my ears. Jiai's mother wore a fierce expression. Her eyes burned with rage as she cursed. Zhang Mingyuan, despite the long-standing friendship between our two families, you actually forced my daughter like this. Are you even human? If your parents found out about your despicable act, they'd fly into a rage and jump out of the ground to kill you. You beast. My breath caught, and I raised my gaze in utter horror. On what grounds do you have the right to insult my parents? What authority do you even have to speak about them? When Ji Ya's mother heard this, her temper flared even more, clutching her chest and gasping several rough breaths. Zhang Mingyuan, it is the fault of your parents not teaching you the right way. You commit such filthy deeds, and you were not taught properly by your parents. You must take responsibility. My furious face was about to stand up, but the monitor stopped me, and she unfolded the test result. An unbelievable exclamation. Pregnant Jia Yao. I stared in astonishment, and in an instant I understood everything. The whole class began to whisper and murmur. Damn, Ji Yao is pregnant. Is it Zhang Mingguan's doing something this big? Aren't you dating Mia? Did Mia wear a green hat doing something this big? How will Zhang Mingyuan be treated at school in the future? The homeroom teacher cried out anxiously at this moment. Everyone, shut up. Now all of you go to the office with me. I clenched the document and kicked the door open with one foot just as I arrived at the office. Ji Yao's mother rushed up and slapped me uncontrollably. I held on tightly, my gaze extremely grim. Zhang Mingguan, you still dare to stop me? You animal who toyed with my daughter, got her pregnant with a sin, and now you want to deny it. How could society produce a scum like you? Jia's mother trembled all over, glaring at me and shouting angrily. I exhaled heavily, coldness gathering in my eyes. Why do you think it was me? Couldn't it be someone else? As soon as my words finished, Jia's father stepped forward. This time, his keen old face was full of scheming. Licking his dry lips, he said, "The written words are here." And Yao Yao said it too. "If not you, then who else?" Now debating right or wrong is pointless. It's better to talk about how you plan to take responsibility. After saying that, her expression changed and she flashed a meaningfully sliced smile. "You won. I grew up watching you, too. Don't worry, I'll have Yao Yao drop it. Even this mental distress fee isn't much for us. Just 200,000. Since Yao Yao injured herself. Hearing this absurd remark, I nearly burst into laughter with anger. Yaya's mother also quieted down a bit, snapping harshly, "You must pay the price. This is compensation for my daughter. Anyway, your parents' car accident paid out a lot, right? This wouldn't be much for you. This time, I'm really shocked by the two rascals right in front of me. No wonder a spiteful ingrate like Jia Yao was raised. All because of malicious genes. Plus the dumbness evolved from instruction and example." 9. The home teacher finally hesitated to speak, whispering, "Mingguan, you are one of my students. I know your character and I don't believe you would do something like this." I gave the old teacher a reassuring look, and with one finger pointed at the door, I shouted aloud, "Jiao, don't hide anymore. Come out and explain the pregnancy clearly." Ji could not dodge in time and could only walk over with a guilty smile. Her face was extremely pale as she forced herself to speak. "What's the assignment? Isn't it already quite clear?" Ji's parents immediately stepped forward to shield her, their eyes hostile and full of hatred as they scanned me. "What? You still want to push my daughter? At this point, you still won't admit it. Do you believe I won't grab a megaphone and shout your misdeeds in the school? So, you'll be ashamed for life." I let out a cold laugh, ignoring their threats, and fixed my gaze on Jaya with unblinking resolve. Still not speaking. "Do you want me to expose it myself?" Jiao suddenly looked up in surprise, then glared at me with contempt and spoke in a very low, displeased voice. "Zhang Muan, you must admit, this is your child. Haven't you always liked me? Now I'm giving you this chance. Don't snub your nose at me." I completely lost interest in communicating with this fool and directly said to the old class monitor, "Go do an amniocentesis. I'll pay for it. This child isn't mine." With those words, Jaya's parents' eyes widened in exaggerated arcs, their fury spreading through them. Gi also glared at me in a fit of anger and blame just as they were about to erupt into a new round of insults. The class monitor arrived. She panted and lifted her phone, speaking with a furious and indignant tone. "You all are not allowed to frame Chang Minyuan any longer. I've pulled up the classroom surveillance for every day of this period, all on my phone. It clearly shows that every night Zhang Minyuan was discussing studies with me. He could never have time for Ji Yao." My mind trembled as I stood frozen. A beam of light seemed to strike the face of the girl who was arguing. Ji Yao's mother spat violently. At this, and only then did I come to my senses. This time I won't care about anything. And I pull out Muse, who had long been hiding at the door. I directly scold him sternly. "Isn't your love supposed to be very fervent? You can't even admit your own child." Muse is shouted to the ground by me, hands frantically covering his head, muttering, "My mom will beat me to death." It's not me. Jia Yao, who still wanted to act, collapses in expression, gritting her teeth and snarling. "I originally wanted to shield you. Mui, you are not a man." Everyone in the hall finally realized it, especially Ji Yao's parents, whose expressions alternated between pale and flushed. This tense atmosphere persisted until Mu's mother arrived. The scene that followed is frankly ridiculous. Ji's parents frantically demanded money. Ji was mercilessly humiliated and the confrontation ended because Muse remained silent in response to the provocation. Their grand love was nailed to a shameful label. 10. I saw Ji again a few days before the college entrance examination. She had just finished her confinement, her face pale and weak, listless, and when she saw me, Her spirits barely returned. She grabbed my sleeve with a grievance and said, "Mingguan, why haven't you come to see me all day? Are you really angry? It's my fault." Before I let her finish, I impatiently pulled back my sleeve and handed the prepared red sugar water to the class monitor. Jia Yao's face twisted and a solid knife of resolve formed in her eyes, stabbing at the class monitor. I immediately stepped in to block, impatiently saying, "If there's nothing, just leave. Don't make a scene here." This time, Jia Yao was truly stunned, glancing between me and the class monitor, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Her whole body began to tremble slightly, lips quivering several times, finally speaking with urgency. "You used to do all this for me, Mingguan. I was wrong. I actually never liked mice. I was ensnared by that stray dog and made a huge mistake. This bastard has no sense of responsibility. I saw it clearly that day when my mom said that about me. He didn't stand up. He's just a coward. Nguyen, please don't treat me like this, okay? Don't anger Ween Fan with me. I'm really very sad." I give her a scornful glance, not wanting to say another word to this woman, and I point at what's behind her. Mu's hands clenched tightly, his eyes red with fury, gazing at her. Jia Yao's face turned even whiter, directly being dragged away by the furious Musea. 11. After that day, I hadn't seen Ji Yao for 3 days in a row, and I breathed a small sigh of relief. The day before the college entrance exam, the homeroom teacher found me and handed me a basket of fruit. "Jiang Minyuan, you will represent the entire class to visit Ji Yao. She was in a car accident and she was seriously injured." I took the fruit basket with some astonishment. Ji had actually had a car accident unlike the nodes of her previous life. The result is also different. She is not a vegetative patient. She has undergone an amputation at a high level. When I arrived at the ward, I planned to set down the fruit basket and leave, but Jia Yao, who suddenly opened her eyes, shouted to stop me. At first glance, I was startled. She has grown extremely thin in just a few days, her protruding shoulder blades stark and pale, her colorless face desolate and hazy. She struggled to raise her wavering body and cried out at me with all her heart. "Mingguan, I miss you so much. What should I do? I have no legs. I'm disabled for life. Minyuan, save me. You'll surely save me, won't you?" I lower my complex eyelids and sigh. "Jia, things have happened. Face the facts. It's better than being unable to move your whole body. From now on, learn to live with a wheelchair on your own." After I finish speaking, I turn to leave, but she grips my wrist tightly. Her fingers turn white from the grip, and my arm trembles as well. Ji in a desperate voice says, "Mingguan, how can I use a wheelchair? It's not possible. I'm already a useless person now. Nguyen, are you going to leave me too?" I inch by inch forcefully pry her hand open and express it with actions. Jia Yao, seeing this, completely collapses. She clutches her head and wails. "Jiang Nguyen, you once promised to protect me for a lifetime. Have you forgotten?" After shouting, she bitterly pleads, "Nguyen, I don't believe you would abandon me. My parents won't accept me. Mia, this beast is hiding somewhere. I only have you. Mingguan, please don't take the college entrance examination. Okay, shall we get married the way you make a wish every year? I've promised you. I promise to marry you. Mingguan, we will never be apart again. Okay," she cried, torn apart, filled with intense fear and frenzied hope. A look I had never seen before. There was a time when every single tear of hers would pierce my heart with sadness. But now I only feel sorrow. The man who was willing to give up everything for her. Jiang Nguyen died forever. He died in the few tens of years of being betrayed, as if the same died in the humiliation of his true heart being trampled. I will no longer stay. Decisively leave. Completely disregard Ji Yao's voice behind me. She completely broke her guard, stiffened her body, and twisted frantically. Her wailing collapsed to the ground, emitting a painful cry from her chest. But in the end, I did not turn back. Getting the right person wrong once is enough. Loving someone to dust, but no one loves you in the dust. 12. In this rite of passage called the college entrance exam, I and the class monitor handed in our best answer sheets. 7 exam papers scattered this summer. but the story between me and the class monitor will be written for a lifetime. At that time, we had already been at Chinua for more than 3 months, and I confessed as soon as I received the admission letter. It sounds ridiculous, but a man in his 30s with an old soul is still as nervous and excited as a rookie. Perhaps once I truly got to know such a wonderful whinin', I felt utterly ashamed of myself. The monitor leaned against me showing me the latest news, and I was momentarily startled. It turned out to be Jia Yao. I hadn't followed her for a long time, and then suddenly a flash of memory appeared. I was surprised to find that in just 3 short months her image in my mind had become fuzzy. This is not important. What matters is that she openly laments that the Mu family scion harmed her by causing both of her legs to be amputated and recorded a segment of him humiliating her. In the video, Mrs. eyes are full of disgust and contempt as if surveying a filthy thing, ruthlessly humiliating Ji Yao, who is aged and worn out from head to toe, sitting in the wheelchair. This video quickly went viral, causing a significant negative impact on the Mole Clan's group reputation. It is said that to salvage her image, Muja installed the latest prosthetic limbs for Ji Yao, while flipping through the class monitor cursed. This muse has never been a good person. Now this exposure is good. In the future, he probably won't dare to insult people at will. Ji isn't easy either. I held her and smiled, advising her not to pay attention anymore. But this video seemed like a omen. The next day, as soon as Ian and I came out of the library, we saw Ji standing rigidly. She trembled all over, as if overwhelmed with excitement, limping over with stiff, awkward steps inch by inch. At this moment, she saw mine, her eyes bursting with extreme light. Muin, I can finally stand to come find you. Do you know how long I've waited for this day? Muin, I can still live. I can take care of myself. I am not a burden you. She poured out her excitement all at once. But in an instant, she fell silent. She saw the 10 fingers of me and Yufan tightly clasped together. Jia Yao began to sway, tears instantly falling, squeezing out from a dry throat. You guys are together. How did that happen? I looked around as more and more strange glances were cast my way, and I tightly held Yi as we walked on. Coldly, I replied, Ji Yao, I have never had anything with you. Not before and never after. Please don't say strange things like that in public. It will make my girlfriend the subject of gossip. After this reply, Zhao could no longer hold on, suddenly sinking to the ground. She raised her hand and clenched her mouth, her eyes filled with shocking fear. The surrounding discussions grew louder, and people kept pointing fingers at each other. My face turned ashen and I pulled Yuan along and left. Ji didn't know which nerve she had touched this time. She suddenly crazy grabbed Yuan, her voice trembling with pleading. Can you give Muin back to me? You're so smart, from a good family with a bright future, and I only have him. Give him back to me. I'll give you whatever you want. This time I really got angry, just about to pull her away. Yufan spoke frankly, since you love him so much. Why did you throw away the handmade bracelet that Jinwan put effort into for your birthday gift? And why did you snicker at the exquisite dishes he had specially prepared for you with money he gave to the cafeteria? Why can he remember all your preferences, including your period? Well, you don't even know he has gastritis. Who are you to talk about loving him? Yufan spoke with unwavering certainty, outspoken and candid. These accusations shook me to my core, but they overwhelmed Ji Yao. She weakly released his hand, her face filled with regret as she shook her head, unable to refute. Finally lifting her eyes, there was confusion, reluctance, and regret. She understood that she had lost completely. She stood up unsteadily, wavering, staggering away as if drained of all strength, leaving only a shell. I no longer cared about her. I just held on to Yufan tightly. In my heart, there is a surging tide of love almost bursting out of my chest. Yufan smiled, eyes bright as a galaxy, and her love poured from her eyes, whispering in my ear, others discard me as a worn-out sandal, but to me you are priceless treasure. 13 Rain and I walked through 4 years of college hand in hand, never once quarreling. She was gentle and considerate. I was foolish beyond measure. In her words, she's a stubborn, clingy fool. She always worries about my gastritis and makes all kinds of stomach-nourishing soups for me every day. I'm often grateful for what virtue or luck could deserve such affection. All my life's fortunes pale in comparison to it. We shine and strive in our respective professions. After graduation, I received offers for top computer programming positions while Yufan stayed on campus to work with the advisor on research. In the second year of my job, I could not wait to propose. I took out all my savings and salary cards and handed over all my property to Yufan. She also insisted on taking out all of her savings to store together with mine. We look forward to the future, firmly believing that we are each other's true love on the journey of life. The name Ji Yao has blurred in my heart at some point, and the heartbreak she caused has long since been healed. At the same time, my hatred for her no longer exists. Strangers no longer need to hate. I thought I would never intersect with her in this life. Yet 6 years later, we meet again and she is still so awkward and pathetic. Rain and I at that time tried on wedding dresses and we saw Ji Yao clinging to Muse, crying her eyes out. Muse hugged a glamorous woman, speaking with disdain and cursing. "You disabled person. How dare you appear? What are you here for? I'm telling you, today is the day my fiancé tries on wedding dresses. Don't make a scene here. Get lost quickly." Ji nodded vigorously, hugged his leg, and cried, "Aziz, didn't you say you would love me only in this life? My leg was taken away for you. I love you so much. You can't treat me like this." Muse's disgust was plainly written on his face. With one kick, he pushed Jiao aside and wiped his shoes. "Don't touch me. So dirty. You work in a bar. And who knows how many diseases you've caught. So disgusting. Get lost right now." Ji's expression changed in an instant. Her heavily made-up face wore a ferocious smile. "Muse, you beast, you heartless dog. You ruined me, ruined my love, made me lose what I cherished. You will reap what you sow." Enraged, Muris was about to attack her, but then remembered how public opinion had suddenly shifted. He simply shouted at the security guard and drove the woman away. Ji turned back coldly. "There's no need. I can walk on my own. I'll watch you descend into hell step by step." But when her figure, about to leave, accidentally spotted me, she froze instantly. Her face was filled with astonishment and utter confusion. Her eyes instantly reflected a myriad of emotions: regret, weariness, timidity, and guilt. A final glance at Yuan in a wedding dress. Nian staggered away in a sorry state. 14. I pulled Yuan and shook my head. Changing to another shop, Yufan sighed repeatedly, unable to help but sigh for Ji Ya's current situation. I tightened her hand. "Don't think about it. This is everyone's choice. Everyone must bear the consequences of their choices. Cheer up. Let's send out the invitations." Rain Fan nods vigorously, burying his head in my chest. The day before the wedding, I unexpectedly received a call from the police. "Mr. Zhang, this is Anyong Police Station. Sorry to bother you, but we want to ask who Ji Yao is to you. She is currently attempting suicide and has named you specifically, insisting on seeing you. We hope you can cooperate." I hung up the phone, frowning as I told you. "Fan." Yafan pulled me along, panicking. "This is a matter of a life. No matter what ridiculous things she has done, in a moment of life and death, don't haggle over them." When we rushed to the city center and reached the 18th floor high platform, Ji Yao was drinking, swaying as she wandered along the edge. The moment she saw me, she blinked in surprise, then laughed at herself. "Zhang Muan, you finally came. I thought you wouldn't come. Is it satisfying to see me in this dead state?" I furrowed my brows deeply and spoke in a low voice. "Ji Yao, stop joking. Come down quickly. Let's talk about this calmly if there's something to discuss." Ji began to laugh hysterically, her lips curling into an exaggerated arc. She laughed with tears in her eyes. "Zhang Minyuan, why say it nicely? How don't you want to hold against me, betraying you, tormenting you for over 10 years? My heart suddenly sank, pupils constricted, voice trembling. "You come back, too. Haha. Yeah, I'm back. And I just happened to land in this situation. Do you think that's karma? You probably don't know. I later fell into a vegetative state without waking up. rotting away at home with no one giving a damn. Ridiculous, isn't it? The person I used to disdain is my salvation in this life. And I betrayed him, colluding with the killer, all just retribution. Gilles burst into a maniacal, gleeful laugh, her laughter dazzlingly bright and sadly piercing. Yufan looked at me with doubt and offered comfort. Jia, don't get impulsive. You're still young. Your prosthetic has been fitted. There are plenty of years ahead. Don't do something stupid. In an instant, Gao stopped laughing, staring at Yufan with an awkwardly jealous gaze. You're truly lucky. You have better taste than me. You cherish more than I do. I really can't compare to you. How ironic when I regret it. It's already too late. You've already firmly stood by his side. This is heaven's punishment for me. I accept it. After saying the last sentence, she calmly closed her eyes. Finally, she exhaled a long breath, gazing at me with deep affection and reluctance. Mingguan, I've avenged you. Ice has humiliated you. I've secretly injected him with a needle containing HIV. I will take him with me to atone for you. After speaking, she without hesitation jumped off the tall platform. Yuan startled stepped forward, but I caught her in my arms from behind, giving her a complicated shake of the head. 15. My Yuan and I still held the wedding as scheduled. She had been hugging me the whole night, not letting go. I looked at her tiredly. Fan, if you want to ask something, just ask. Yuan said nothing, only fixing me with a deep look, sighing softly. Hubby, I don't want to ask. As long as you're by my side for the rest of my life, that's enough, no matter how tragic the past may be. So what's most important is that we know and love each other in this life and stay together. The emotions surging in my heart choke my throat dry. Cannot speak. This soul-piercing, scorching love makes me feel guilty. I can only hold her tightly at this moment, giving her the vow of the rest of her life. Spring comes, summer goes, autumn harvests, winter hides. We have a long future ahead. Done.